because I am the sport and you are nothing. The whole internet loves me. They don't want to hear what you have to say because they want to listen to me. Because you end up talking on my football. When you're going to, and you shut up, you're not any better. Don't you think about it. I ain't set up for this. You go grab my belt. You just won me the internet championship. Thank you. That's why I am the history maker, Jessy Jones. The Sports Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another edition of the Sports Corner. I am your host, Jessy Jones. Joining me once again, as always, my little co-host, Tata. And these people enjoy them too. So, that'll bring me to my guests. We have two guests this week, and we will go into next week with these two guests as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the GLCW Commissioner, Mike Flash, and Outlaw, Scott Chase. Gentlemen?
I say thanks for having me, but I wouldn't really mean to.
Let me just say, for one, Jessy, it is an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm honored to be your primary guest on the show today.
And I thank you, Mike, for coming on down here.
Absolutely.
I don't want to say that you were a replacement because I figured he wasn't going to show up, but the best part is you're both here so we can get into this and be able to do what we want to do. As I always do, I open up my floors to the guests, so we'll start with you first here, Scott. And go ahead and start her up.
Well, what do you want me to say? All I'm saying to you is that if you're going to keep this uncensored and shoot, you pull any bullshit with me, I'm going to slap the sperm right out of your mouth.
Well, let's just say that my esteemed roster mate here has quite the colorful language, and I apologize on behalf of the GLCW management for his, how do you say, gutter talk.
Figured coming from a redneck. But, anywho, we have tons of questions. We have tons of historic moments here coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one sports corner that you people will not forget. What we're going to do is go straight into this. GLCW, PWA. You showed up at a show in Niagara Falls and you tried to cause some problems.
I think I did very well at causing some problems.
You did an incredible job of causing problems. Problems that almost cost me an exorbitant amount of money in legal costs. But you know what, Scott? I'm going to let it slide.
I would hope you would.
No, I'm going to let it slide. And I'd like to get further into it, but I'm going to save that for later.
Sounds good. We're always looking for great later work. Because, speaking of this, GLCW has been around for how long now?
Feel free to handle this one.
Why, thank you. He's so polite now, isn't he?
Especially when he doesn't know the answer.
Well, GLCW's been around for over 5 years now. It was born of the ashes of Shockwave Wrestling, which was a short-lived promotion, and designed to take advantage of a hole in the market that sort of said goodbye to the old-school fans. So GLCW saw an opportunity and saw a challenge because there were federations around the time. NEO was doing their thing in Niagara Falls, doing it well. PWE was doing their thing in Orangeville, CIWA up north. There was this big hole in Hamilton that the old school fans needed filled. Plus, there was a lot of money to be made.
there is and there isn't. Because if there was a lot of money, how come you guys only ran, like, what, last year? 2 shows? In 2005? Was there more than that?
There was, I believe there was 4 shows.
4 shows in 2005.
Yes, including Woodstock, such things.
You see, Jessy, times have been, how do you say, a little rough in GLCW since, well, the big Ontario Athletic Commission, how do you say, body slam of a couple of years ago, where a lot of the federations were basically left for dead because of the regulations that almost killed the Ontario indie scene.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm going to shock you right now, I'm going to say that I owe a great deal to 2 men. Reggie Marley, who I heard had some disparaging comments towards me on a previous show, but also to Scott Chase. Because at that time, GLCW was in real trouble of going the way of EWF. Wait a minute, nobody could go that bad. But Scott and Reggie, they said, hey, why just settle for Hamilton? Brantford's a booming town. Woodstock is a booming town. Brilliant. He had a brilliant idea. So we expanded into Brantford, which has been an absolute success. We expanded into Woodstock, which was an even bigger success, which also had the match of the year last year.
Yes.
The tag, which is the tag match with the Highlanders and Models Inc. And GLCW looked to be turning that corner and really positive. But, well, sometimes success can breed complacency. And I'm afraid that, well, GLCW has become a little complacent over the last few months.
Just a little. And we've got tons of questions and this and that, but what we're going to do right now is we'll take the first of hopefully not too many breaks, and we're going to check out an older style GLCW clip. So we'll be right back right after this.
This is Ruffy Silverstein. You're watching the Sports Corner with Jesse Jones. Don't you dare miss it.
Well, if you had something to say, why don't you say it? You always have something to say to me, but you never say to anybody else.
You're always trying to hog all camera.
Oh, for the love of God.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you saw there, a former tag team that was illustrious, if you want to call it, here on the Ontario independent scene, involving Mr. Scott Chase and the Texas Hellraisers fighting against...
Which were the infamous Texas Hellraisers, where they wanted to ban us from Ontario, by the way.
They want to ban you?
Yes.
Because people can't stand watching it, or...?
No, fear.
Fear.
You know,
a four-letter word.
As much as you laugh about that, Jesse, I do remember one match, and this goes right back in the early days of GLCW, might even be tail end of Shockwave. There was a match between the Texas Hellraisers, and it was Cody Steele, and I forget who the other... but it didn't matter.
T-player.
Was it? Oh, because I just remember that one of the teammates was afraid to get into the ring. And Cody, he toughed it out, and he got his butt handed to him 6 ways of Sunday. And, look at him now. He's on his way to some major success.
Absolutely. He's also GLCW Tag Team Champion.
Oh, that's right. And who's managing them right now? Oh, that's right. It's me. Sorry, I got lost in my own moment there.
Oh, no, that's all right. These are the places to get lost in moments, because this is where history is made. And we'll speak about what is going to happen when PWA comes to Brantford and wipes GLCW off the map.
Scott, would you like to take that one?
Well, you know, there's certain rules that you're supposed to follow when running territories. I've been running Brantford for years now. I've been doing the road work. I try to get my own promotion going, trying to get promote posters out, getting my own wrestling career going. You don't just come into someone's territory and slip in the back door. Eddie Osborne thinks for 1 second that I'm going to just be sitting around enjoying it and not doing anything about it. He's in for a big mistake, and the ears are going to get ripped out of his head, I figure.
Well, Eddie is just, he's just the messenger being sent in from Joey Hallam, who is the one that wants to totally just wipe Brantford of you people. And which means you'll be put out of a job, but don't worry, I've got some good pull with Joey there, and I wouldn't see you gone, but
yeah,
I'd be happy to see you out of a career. Well, in the PWA, what have you done? You have turned on every single tag team partner that you've had,
Yep.
saying that you're the better tag team wrestler. You are the infamous one half of the Texas Hellraisers that doesn't the half. Okay.
Can I get some more room here? Because I think Scott's ego is starting to creep over here a little bit.
There's not enough room in the studio, quote unquote, to hold it all in. But
Coming from you two. I can't even believe I'm on the same set with you two idiots.
well, like I said, we just wanted to get your candid views at what's going to happen when you're out of a job.
Well, you know what? Everyone thought that I wasn't going to be able to come back from a certain health risk that I had.
Heart attack?
Some people call it a heart attack. I call it a setback. Mm-hmm. I've been everywhere but the electric chair. I've been up and down the Stussy Trail that you call Ontario Circuit. I fought them all. I beat them all. What else can I do? You going to tell me I'm out of a job? You watch. I'll be there. I'll be in Brantford, Ontario at Jay's place. Like it or not.
But, okay, coming into this, there are people that have stated the PWA has GLCW wrestlers on its roster. So when the thing is, who, in your opinion, is going to side with a losing federation?
Well, I have a good feeling that the true blue GLCW wrestlers, they'll have my back. Ruffy Silverstein, I know, is a true pro. He'll have my back during the invasion.
I just beat him. Continue.
Yeah, and how did you beat him?
Pinfall, 1, 2, 3.
Very good, very good. I'm sure Sports Generation had something to do with that.
Of course not. I don't have them outside when I'm out there. I don't need them. They need me.
No, go ahead. No, it's your show, go ahead.
Damn right it's my show. Mike,
Can you believe, this is the most fired up, pardon the Hellraiser's pun, that I've seen Scott Chase in a number of years. I mean, when I first met Scott Chase, we didn't really see eye to eye then either, but we had a level of respect, I think. And he was one half of one ass-kicking tag team. And I know you like to think you were the better half of the Hellraisers,
Yes.
but let's just call a spade here. There were two Texas Hellraisers, the tyrant Eric Dawson, who can kick ass with the best of them, along with yourself. I don't think there was one better than the other. I think both of you together made each other better.
I agree with that.
But, as the years go on, partners change, guys go out single, you've been a successful singles wrestler, but, I don't know, it's
no
just...
thanks to you either, Mike Flash. Do you remember that match where I won the Ontario title? Do you remember how I had to win the Ontario title?
I'd like to forget that incident that involved Models Inc. I'd like to just move on, please.
well, Mike, the question that was on the floor here is, who do you think on the GLCW roster will stay with you?
Well, Jesse, it's this whole invasion is, I hate using the word invasion because it's so 2001.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's just say this. GLCW was born of an old school mentality. And I'd like to think of this as sort of an old school territorial war. Mm-hmm. And let's just say that it's going to be an entertaining event. It doesn't matter who's on what side.
Well, Fellatio and Pantalone are the PWA Tag Team Champions. Fellatio has also been one of GLCW's alumni. And Pantalone, just becoming brand new, starting off with his first match in the PWA, is now Tag Team Champions. And they will be defending their titles in Brantford. And do you think Fellatio will be on GLCW's side?
I personally think you would, because I believe GLCW helped Fellatio get back into Ontario, and he's found his way back up to the top as one of the top baby faces in Ontario, and I think GLCW had a lot to do with that.
I want to get this guy some pom-poms, because he's the biggest cheerleader right now for GLCW. It's so great to see.
Yeah, you gotta love people. I just can't wait to get the aftermath when they're mourning over the loss of this illustrious company. But, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back and enjoy this little clip.
This is Cody Diener, and you're watching the Sports Corner with Jessy Jones.
You know what? Every time that they're asking questions about GLCW, you should be answering that. When you're talking about wrestling, you should let me answer that. You know what I'm saying?
You're like a puppet. And me, I'm Scott Chase. I'm talking.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, these two bicker and bicker and bicker. It's almost like a married couple.
I'd like to think of it more as a divorced couple.
That's probably even better. The clip you saw there was from a 6-man tag team match. Tony Atlas, Ruffy Silverstein, and yourself there, Scott, versus Quinson, Reggie, and Tid with you in their corner.
Yeah, and I'd like to go on record as saying that the fourth man on their team, a former radio DJ in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, who is no longer there, he got a lucky shot in with a spear, and he's lucky that I didn't get up and give him a left and a right.
Who won that match again? I believe it was a team of Scott Chase, Ruffy Silverstein, and Tony Atlas that won that match.
It's amazing that when he has something to say, he can say it. You should think more often. It suits you.
Thank you.
I already smell the smoke. Too much thinking going on here.
I warned you already, Jesse.
Okay, being warned and all, we heard Reggie Marley's side of the story. We want to hear the Scott Chase side of the story. What happened?
Between me and Reggie?
Absolutely.
Well, Reggie, I don't know. I like to think of it as he has like a supersized ego. Reggie, you didn't want to help. You didn't want to do anything. And when we brought in somebody else to help do your role, you took a back step because you didn't want to cut out your slice of the pie. And that's basically what I see from that. So, that's pretty much whatever Reggie wants to say. Reggie wants to say it's my fault. Reggie wants to say it's anybody else's fault. Your fault, my fault, doesn't matter. Reggie Marley, no longer GLCW.
And I just want to add, Reggie and I go way back. I mean, we talk about the Texas Hellraisers as being one of the cornerstone GLCW tag teams. But let's not overshadow the power and the strength and the drawing power, more than anything, of the Ebony Express.
Absolutely.
JQ Public, the first GLCW champion, if I'm not mistaken. And Reggie and JQ were a formidable tag team. And you know what? Reggie can say what he wants now, and you know, we've had our things. And Reggie, I knew you were the Ebony Rider. It doesn't take an idiot to know that.
He's the only Negro left in professional wrestling, and he puts on a mask and thinks we don't know it's him.
What's this?
The stinger. I felt that, and we won't go into that.
I'll tell you something about Reggie, something else. I respect Reggie in the ring, and I'm not gonna say anything different. Outside the ring, what you did was bullshit. Inside the ring, me and Reggie, you look back through the history of Ontario, you've seen our names fighting each other in the United States, all through Ontario, and we've had wars. We've had probably the biggest rivalry in tag team Ontario history.
And I think more tag team titles have changed hands between those four men, than any other team. And for a good reason, because they were the best of the best. And I stress, were.
Were is the key point in that sentence. So basically, Reggie Marley is the PWA Pure Wrestling Champion. And then we have Mr. Ontario over here, the GLCW Ontario Champion.
The longest reigning GLCW Ontario champion in GLCW history.
That's... I won't go into why he's the longest reigning champion.
And my last title defense, who was it against?
Eddie Osborne.
Yes.
And we'll talk about fellatio here. And why did you take off my pants? Did you just want to see my rear end?
Well, I just figured any chance that I can to humiliate you and just make people laugh at you was well worth it for me. Did I know those pants were going to come off? No, I didn't. But you know what? I had a good laugh just with everybody else.
Just because they saw my $6,000 underwear doesn't mean that they were laughing at me. They were laughing at you taking off my pants.
Yeah. It was funny. That was pretty funny.
But who would want to laugh at a physique like this?
No, I was laughing my head off, I'll be honest with you.
Small things amuse small minds.
My word, very shiny.
Anyway, we're speaking about good shape. I will actually admit, Scott, you're looking in decent condition.
Decent, thank you.
You are, and we've heard about things that are coming up for you, hopefully. And hopefully everything works out for the best. And basically, did you want to talk about anything like that?
No, I don't really, because anything that I might talk about could actually jinx something. I'm very superstitious when it comes to my wrestling business. So let's just say you know, let's just say I know, let's just say Mike Flash knows, and that's good enough.
All right,
when it happens, I'll have a big smile on my face, but if it doesn't, then I can't say that I was on here bragging about it, now can I?
Well, I'm usually the one that would just, to piss him off, spurt it out and tell you people, but I will actually respect his wishes. I will not say anything. And what we're going to do is, once again, take another look here at a clip, and we'll be right back with more questions from Team GLCW.
It's time for the grown-ups to talk. So,
you need to slow your roll, bro. This is not even fun. I'm not here to be playing with you guys. I will knock you out, though.
understand. I don't know rap. You came down here and handed out your junk. Now it's time for me to throw out this snot-nosed punk. Bring it. Bring it. Oh, yeah.
Scott Chase and Reggie Marley, who join us from Brantford. Good to have you along this morning, gentlemen.
All right, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Both of you with Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, and this is quite an event that you have coming up this weekend, and in support of the food bank, too.
It's going to be a great day of wrestling.
Thanks for joining us today, guys, and good luck on Saturday.
Oh, thank you so much.
And we're going to be back with more in
For once, they're not actually bickering. You guys sat there and watched the clip. Unfortunately, it was of you and, what was it, Kwame?
Yeah,
what
well,
kind of name is that?
Hey, you know what? It felt good to slap the taste out of his mouth, and, well, it slapped him all the way to Edmonton, I guess, because that's where he's toiling now.
And then also on there, we see you and, I guess, a former best friend of yours, Reggie Marley, on daytime TV. You're like, what? Sound familiar?
I'm not answering that.
He can't. He doesn't have an answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is normally when I go into the name association. But because we're going to be having these two gentlemen come back here next week. We're going to save the name association until next week. What we're going to do is have we'll do a semi-closing moment with each of you gentlemen here, leading us into some topics that you want to talk about next week.
Topics for next week. Well, I just think we should actually talk about what we plan on doing if PWA does actually have the balls to come in and try to invade Brantford. I think we should just continue with that.
Well, Jesse, because this show is as important as it is, and a fine show it is, and again, I do want to stress that I'm honored to be on this program, even though, you know, you've been GLCW, you've been PWA, we've walked down similar roads, and I respect you. You are probably the finest managerial mind in this business.
Thank you.
And a fine talker at that. Well, next week, let's just say I'm going to drop a bomb on your show. And I'm not talking the kind of bombs this guy drops back in the locker room.
He must be followed around by that mysterious smart bomber, too.
No.
Who is it?
No, next week, Jesse, a lot of questions that I've been asked and that I'm sure Scott Chase has been asked, they'll be answered.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Next week, once again, I have the pleasure of Scott Chase and, as always, the pleasure of Mr. Mike Flash. Stay tuned, and we'll see you once again next week.
The Sports Corner.